Welcome to Your Team Sucks with your hosts, Brock,
And I got my hair did for free by this stylist.
Aaron,
Tell me more about this Starlin Castro. Any relation to Fidel?
Phil,
The Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
and Peter.
Who haven't we offended yet? Just make a list of that. It's probably a shorter list.
Enjoy the show, bitches.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Your Team Sucks. This is now episode dos. I am here today. I'm Brock Riney. I'm joined by Peter Alden. Say
Hello.
hi, Peter.
What's going on,
And I'm
everybody?
joined
Don't say my last name. Don't do that. I don't want to be that attached to this.
and I'm joined by Aaron. I'm in the garage. Smith.
Senator Smith.
Thank you. My constituency. Thank you.
Philip, I'm too busy. Clay is not joining us tonight because he's too busy trying to make the word fat popular again. P-H-A-T.
It's embroidered on the back of his pants.
It really is. They're all fat pants. That's what they call them.
Trademark.
Welcome to another episode of Your Team Sucks. Obviously, if this is your first time watching, the show is really just about a little bit of sports humor. We give you a little bit of fantasy advice. Advice. Yeah, let's go with advice. We usually play a game of trivia, something usually stupid, and then we sign out because I'm just going to drink the whole episode. About an hour is all I can really handle. So what we're going to do this show, it's going to be a little bit quick. We're going to run through some headlines that Aaron's going to start us off with. We're going to jump over to Peter's trivia, and then I'll wrap you up with some fantasy advice. So, fellas, before we get into all that...
Headlines, the shit you already know about, but Jesus, we'll talk about it anyway.
So before we get into that, Aaron, I'm glad that you played the audio clip because I was going to ask you, hey, Aaron, but before we get into that, play the audio clip.
Done.
What do you got for us this week?
Well, I picked up three major things going on. So first off, Tony Stewart killed a guy.
Not allegedly.
This is confirmed. If you were watching the news at all, you saw a lifeless body on camera. No, allegedly. There's nothing happened inside of a smaller box. This was all out in the open. So I have two questions. The first of which is a silly question. A, did he do anything wrong? Did he do it on purpose?
I think the only person that can actually answer that question would be Tony Stewart. There are people that have said that he accelerated. There are people that said he tried to swing the back end around to go around the guy. I honestly think the only person that knows if he intended to do it is himself.
Brock, what do you think?
So let me ask you guys this question first. Have y'all seen the video of it yet?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So it was harder to find than I ever thought it would be because, everything gets pulled down from the internet, but the internet's everywhere. Personally, I watched it, multiple times because I'm a sadistic bastard of a person. Yep. But to me, it looked like he tried to slam on his brakes and turn to the right. The guy seemed like he went over that same direction. Mm-hmm. But neither here nor there, I don't think he's at fault at all because the guy got out of his car in the middle of a fucking race to go stand in the middle of it going like, you ain't gonna crash my car, it's in a dirt track and there's fins on the back of my car. You're killing me.
Something that Tony Stewart has done twice.
Yeah, well, so...
You must have seen a very different video from me. I didn't hear any of that dialogue. That's
yeah,
weird.
we didn't get the audio to go with my video.
I got lucky. I've got a cousin who's a friend of a person who owns a parabolic mic studio.
Good to know. Well, I am going to side with my boy Brian Williams from the NBC Nightly News. I was listening to the Dan Patrick Show, and he actually called in to talk about this. He's really into dirt track racing in particular. And his main thought was exactly what was going through my mind was the kid got out of the car. What do you do?
How stupid are you? How stupid are you?
You're on a dirt track where you're in basically a controlled skid the entire time. Tony Stewart himself broke his leg in this type of track last year. You can't get out of the car.
Here's what I think happened, and this is me just giving my opinion. I think Tony Stewart saw the kid, tried to scare the shit out of him, and fucked it up. Because if you look at the tape, he's moving a lot faster than the guy that was going in front of him, and they're during a caution lap.
Isn't that the point in NASCAR, to move faster than the guy in front of you?
Not during a caution.
Incorrect.
Caution, everybody's going slow.
No. Don't try to teach me NASCAR. That's a waste of time.
Turn left. It's just to turn left.
He turned the leftist of everyone.
There's something about hydroplaning and drafting.
I'll give you this. Watch the tape again and watch the speed of the guy that's in front of Stewart. And tell me if they're going the same speed.
So here's a legitimate question. That was a silly question, which Peter somehow managed to mess up, I'm going to say. Legit question, should he race this weekend?
So he sat out last weekend after being told that he should really sit out. Well, you know, he comes out and says, oh, you know, after thinking about it, I should sit out. Personally, I don't think the guy cared. He wanted to race, but that's what he does for a living. If this guy is a professional NASCAR racer and on his off days he goes to do dirt racing, obviously it's something that he just absolutely loves to do, or, you know, it's the only thing that gets him hard in the morning. So I understand if he wants to race this weekend. I don't really have any problem with it. The guy took last weekend off. He hasn't been indicted on any charges. There's nothing that's coming up. I don't see any reason.
I think being indicted on charges.
He killed the guy. And for starters, why are we even talking about NASCAR on the show beyond me? I have no idea. Have we ever talked about NASCAR before?
Yeah, because Tony Stewart killed a guy.
Yeah, that was the lead. Did you miss the headline?
Let me ask you this. What's the responsibility of NASCAR at this point? Do they say, hey, look, we're going to go ahead and suspend you and let you pick a driver? We'll still allow you to earn points, but until this thing is, like, either, you know, we send you to jail, you're cleared of all charges, we're just going to keep you off the track until then.
So how do you earn points if you're not allowed on the track?
Well, the deal is basically the car earns the points. So say if you were injured...
Incorrect. You hit more people.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
I don't know anything about NASCAR.
So you've basically got three options at this point. He can sit himself because he's the owner of his own company. He's not. He really is. No owner is telling him to sit down or anything like that.
I don't like my attitude. I'm gonna have to give myself a timeout.
Exactly. He can bench himself.
I'm ducking my pay.
NASCAR can bench him, or he can race. The downside to him benching himself is that because he's the owner of his own company, he's got hundreds of employees whose paychecks are dependent upon how well he does in the chase. So
I think NASCAR says you're going to sit until the charges have either been, you know, assessed to you or you're getting cleared of all charges.
If it's
they haven't even assigned any charges to him, like, at all.
Right.
No charges have been filed.
If it's me and I think that I'm innocent and I haven't done anything wrong and that it's a terrible tragedy, I try to personally reach out to the family, talk to them, not trying to publicize it or anything, but I try to clear it with them first. And
that's not happening.
And then, you know, you try to show honor to him as much as you can, wear his number on the car, put a big black band around it or something like that.
Come on. This is the type of crap that I hate. Somebody does something stupid, and then you're going to reward them by putting their number on the side of your car.
No. That's different. Just because he didn't do anything wrong doesn't mean he's still sorry that the kid died. You can still memorialize it.
I get that, but you don't immortalize somebody for being a moron.
Him
you got out of your car.
Him wearing a band for a week does not immortalize anybody. It's a death, and you try to be nice about it.
Nah, I'm not with you. I think it's ridiculous.
Let me ask you a question. Does NASCAR change their rules about drivers getting out of their cars after this incident?
I think they should, and I think they should also make an additional rule that if you're driving in NASCAR, you cannot be driving in any other circuit.
That's not going to happen at all. There's too much pride in the lower levels. There's too much pride in the lower levels.
I just, you know, obviously if he wasn't allowed to do this, then that kid may not have died. Right?
Yeah. So moving away from, you know, whether it's legitimate or illegitimate murder, something almost...
Well, it was legitimate murder.
He did.
He did.
On a slightly lower level of badness, there's the Ask Jameis Winston idea. Whoever thought that this was a fantastic way to use social media obviously has never been on the internet.
Does not know what a troll is.
They do not know how the internet works, how hashtags works, but they have heard buzzwords like social media and digital platform. So the
marketing,
synergy,
hit it with the Twitter hammer.
The backlash was obviously hilarious. There were apparently over 2,000 different kinds of references to crab legs. The thing only lasted like 20 minutes. And
I was going to say, what time frame?
Yeah. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how much is the guy who thought of this fired?
Oh, I think that should be like a 9 pushing a 10. My favorite one personally was how could you forget the butter? That was my favorite one that I read.
There were a couple of photoshops of him doing the Heisman pose to the the cash register clerk while holding the snow crab. Lots of people were asking what type of crabs it were. One of my personal favorite actual tweets was he went what was it, like 16-0 last year, 14 on the field, 2 in the courtroom.
2 in the courtroom.
Rough.
The person that came up with the tagline, "There's no such thing as bad publicity," never said anything about hashtag Ask Jameis.
Yes.
This was a big mistake. And you know what? I mean, I understand what you're trying to do. You're trying to get everybody amped up for the season, sell some more tickets, get people revved up. Maybe not coming off of you getting off of stealing crab legs.
Okay, so I'm going to put y'all in an improvisational on-the-spot situation. I want you to tell me what your best guess is that was the pitch to the FSU staff. They were like, yeah, this is a good idea.
Well, okay, so here's my thought process. Just first off, okay,
yes.
Jameis, he's our star. He's our guy, right?
Yes,
and,
we love Jameis Winston, obviously.
We love Jameis, and the country loves Jameis, and they want
everyone loves Jameis Winston. Yes,
everyone loves him, and they want to know what's Jameis thinking, right?
I want to know more about him.
So I want to ask the world, our fantastic Florida State University fans all across the globe, what they want to ask Jameis.
Do you think that this could backfire on us horribly in any way, shape, or form?
No, not whatsoever.
This was the real conversation. Some guy walked in the office and said, "Hey, listen here, Bubba. I hate to tell you and be the bearer of bad news, but our sweet sales are down, and I need to wait."
First of all, how did you know my name was Bubba? This is creepy.
Because you live in Florida.
I think they were trying to amplify whatever they needed for ticket sales or propaganda to get the season going in the right direction.
Yeah,
they took their star. They took their star and they put him on a pedestal and said, "Have at it." What's the worst?
Pedestal built of sexual impropriety charges and stolen crab legs.
What's the worst they could say in 20 minutes?
Let me ask you a question. When I say Florida State University, what comes to your mind? Now, give me other answers other than rape and crab legs.
Give me a minute.
Yep, nope, you're right. Rape and crab legs. I don't know why we're doing this stupid Twitter thing. Rape and crab legs.
They're also attached to a Native American tribe. Yeah, that's
Indian rape and crab legs.
So for the last topic of headlines, this is going to make Peter very happy. Apparently, the Royals are good at baseball.
Apparently. I'm going to lose a very terrible bet to Peter.
Well, at the time, it wasn't a bad bet. For those that weren't aware of it.
Yeah.
And let's be fair, Brock makes a lot of very terrible bets.
Early on in the season, the Rangers were somewhat decimated by injury, and the Royals could not hit ball far. And I came to Brock and said, "You know,
could not hit it all.
You've been to the World Series a couple times, and my team hasn't been in the postseason in just about 30 years now. Why don't we have a 2-for-1 on a Royals-Rangers bet?" And sure enough, he took the bait because I knew deep down in my soul that this was the year.
You knew this was going to happen.
30 years in waiting, and I've been sitting on this gold mine, and I went on a $10 bet to try and make 20.
And I knew deep down in my soul that this was like every other year, you know? And then all of a sudden, Prince Fielder gets the leg aids or the neck aids or whatever it is that he got. He's gone. Every pitcher that the Rangers possibly have decided they're going to break something. Yu Darvish died tonight. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah.
Was he racing on a dirt track or something?
He was. He tried to do that thing where people see the car coming and they jump over it.
Kobe. He tried to
Kobe.
Kobe. Yeah, he tried to Kobe. I would like to point out for the listeners that while Peter may play a big game saying he knew that this was the year, when we hung out at a bar the other night, we were watching a Royals game on television. He's like, I don't know who this guy is. I don't know who this person is.
And he's not on the active roster now. I think they won that game too.
They did. They did.
The funny thing is when we're going back to the trade deadline, a lot of people in Kansas City were ripping them because they had a chance to get Cespedes, and all they had to do was trade away. Some talent. They had to get away from Shields and a couple other arms or some prospects.
Is it okay that I refuse to call him Cespedes and just
Cespedes?
We're calling him Cespedes. This is the way that it is.
I call him Cespedes.
Yes,
that's fine.
It's wrong, but I'm not changing my mind.
I'm not changing my mind either. I'm with you, Aaron.
I'm rocking this one.
Yep. They gave the Royals a tough time for standing pat, basically, and not getting anybody. And sure enough, they started ripping off games. They ripped off 8 in a row. They've won 11 of the last 13. Their pitching staff is great. They still can't hit a lick, but they're beating teams.
And what they were asking the Royals to do, the Tigers did do, and that's working out famously for them.
Yeah. Verlander, have we heard yet? Is he down?
He's dead too. Yeah.
He
Also dead?
Also dead.
Yep. Also,
Damn you, Tony Stewart. Damn you.
This is a big weekend for Tony Stewart.
well, and I think the Royals were actually smart not to let go of James Shields. I mean, the guy has been unreal lately. I think he just threw
a year for like the last decade.
Well, and he just threw another complete game the other day, and I can't remember how many complete games he's thrown for the Royals this year. It's been something unreal.
He's had really good games.
So 2 quick questions on this. 2 quick questions.
And the Royals won again today, beating the Athletics.
They did win. So they at least even. They can lead that series even.
And the A's are a tough team, man. The A's are a tough team.
They swept the Giants.
That's just amazing. Sorry, your question there.
Yeah, 2 questions on this. A, do they finish out the season in first?
In their division, yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to say yeah.
Yeah, I don't see the Tigers bouncing back from this. That loss in Toronto in 19 innings, I think, broke their back, and then Verlander going down is just salt in the wound.
So then the more specific question, if they're first in the division, they get into the playoffs for the first time in 875 years. What's the? I'm going to place the over/under at playoff victories at 2. What's your pick?
Peter?
Depending on who they open up with, I'll probably take the under. Because these guys have never really seen the bright lights of playoff baseball. A lot of them are really young.
I hate to tell you, they use the same lights. It's the same. There's the amperage and wattage is.
Then I have no argument, and I will hold my hands like this.
I don't know. So I see them probably matching up with somebody.
Brock, why aren't you holding your hands like this?
Oh, sorry. I probably see them opening up against somebody like the LA Angels. And I just think that if they do match up with the Angels...
The Angels of Anaheim?
Yeah, the Angels of Anaheim. I just have a feeling they match up well with them, considering that usually the first round is going to be one where it can be won by starting pitching. It's going to be hard for me to tell you that they can't beat some of the teams that are in the American League. I mean, you got Baltimore, LA Angels, Oakland... KC,
you don't think my Yankees are going to take a big stand and take the division? You don't think that's going to happen?
I think they're going to take a big Ichiro Suzuki dump in that division.
Suzuki.
I'm a part-time player. Excuse me. I just see them being able to beat the Angels. They obviously proved today, just throwing Vargas out there, who's got to be their 3rd or 4th starter. They blanked the Oakland A's. Okay, 3rd. There you go.
Yeah, he's right after Duffy.
And
so we got you at over?
I'm at over, man. I'm going to say that they win at least 3 games in the postseason.
Is this because the lights are the exact same?
Yeah.
No. Actually, I've got a cousin who's got a friend who works in lights, and
the sound guy and the light guy.
Yeah.
He's
gonna relocate to the KC area.
How did you not become a tradesman with this in the family?
I am a tradesman. I just, but my cousin, who's got a buddy, is also a tradesman. So we didn't want to have inter family conflict.
Well, in an accidental left, right, center situation, I'm going to push. How about that?
So they're going to
3 games.
So Aaron says they're going to win 2, which means they're going to lose the best of 5 series.
Yes.
Yes. It will go to 5, but you will lose 5.
It comes down to 4 runs. If they can hold any team to 4 runs or less, they can win that game. Anything over that, they can't. They don't have the bats to keep up.
Yeah. But the problem is that their bats are capable. They're just terrible swingers. They swing at everything.
Hosmer's hurt.
Peter, I don't know if I'll go that far, but I will say that if they're able to score more runs than the other team, then they'll win.
That is really good.
Aaron's got really sound advice today.
Ball go far.
Ball go far.
Okay, so that's everything for headlines. You guys want to move over and do some of Peter's ridiculous trivia?
I would love to.
How you
now
feeling
it's time for stupid trivia. Let the guys show you how much you suck.
All right.
Excuse me. So tonight's trivia, gentlemen, we're going to cover some hot topics. There's going to be a little bit about football. There's going to be a little bit about fantasy football, and then there's going to be a speed round. So I'm going to need some names for your lovely ring-ins.
Mordecai.
Mordecai. Okay.
Yeah.
Robin Williams.
Oh,
downer.
I will call you
Patch Adams.
Mork.
How about I nanu in?
Well, you're Mork, so you can do whatever you want.
I like the nanu ring in.
All right, so you'll get a set of clues, and then if you get the answer right, there may be some bonus questions available for you.
Brock does have to answer every question doing an impression of Robin Williams, though.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
I can't wait.
This can't be terrible.
Gentlemen, NFL record book questions. This player led the league in rushing for the most seasons in a career. You better not step on his bunions. Known as the first black action star.
Mordecai.
Jim
Brown?
That is correct.
Wow.
For a bonus point within one, how many seasons did he lead the league in rushing for in his career?
7.
That is correct. He led it for 8 within one.
Wow.
For an additional bonus point, where did Jim Brown go to college?
Oh my gosh, this is our game. I'm stupid. Alabama.
No.
Nanu.
Right.
Mork to steal.
Syracuse.
That is correct.
It was my bonus point. How does he get to steal that?
Because I'm Robin Williams.
And you did not answer in the form of Robin Williams.
Oh yes, Syracuse. It's a school.
Take away his point.
Juilliard and.
Take away his point.
I will greet you there, Captain.
This player has the most games of 400 yards passing or more in a career.
Mordecai.
Dan
Marino.
That is correct. Clue 2 was made out with Finkel or Einhorn, depending on how you look at it, and laces out Dan.
Laces out.
All right. How many games has he thrown for 400 or more yards within one?
Within one?
Yeah.
13.
On the dot for another point.
Oh my gosh.
Are you doing a victory lap? I can't see.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm doing. I got hit by Tony Stewart halfway though, but I'm okay.
Oh, but you're okay?
Yes, he went into the kid.
What college did Dan Marino go to for an additional point?
Why am I flaking out on this part? Delaware, I don't know.
Delaware is incorrect.
Yeah, I know it's incorrect.
Would you like to steal a point?
Sure, I have no idea on this one.
Can you name a college?
We'll say he went to Miami.
False. I'm not even going to tell you the answer. You should know it. Google it. Figure it the fuck out.
I don't know it.
All right. This player holds the record for the most 100-yard receiving games in a single season. Which one of you pipe-hitting bitches wants to pass me the mashed potatoes might be something said at his dinner table. The playmaker.
I
don't even know, because you didn't get your name right. I'm going to give it to Mork.
Yes, Michael Irvin.
That is correct. How many 100-yard receiving games did he have in that single season within one?
Mordecai.
That is not your. It's not
How did
your
you get to
bonus
steal
point.
mine? This is
They
garbage.
got it wrong.
Let's go with 8.
That is incorrect.
Mordecai. 10.
We'll give it to you. It was 11 games. In a single season, he had 100 yards receiving. That's impressive.
I should add. I'm not keeping track of the points here. Is someone keeping
You're
track
winning.
of the points here?
I'm keeping track of the points. I have it at minus 0.3 to 1 over x minus YAB squared.
I'm not entirely sure. I'm not entirely sure what that means.
I don't know math very well. All right. Fantasy football records is our topic.
Brock.
Based on standard scoring systems, this player scored the most fantasy points in a single game back in 2003.
Nanu.
He had Mork.
Michael Vick.
That is incorrect. Mordecai, there are 2 more clues. Take your time.
I'm gonna.
He had several alter egos to speak with after each game, including Coach Janky Panky and Sheriff Don't Get Ya.
Mordecai. Don't even need him.
Oh,
Clinton Portis.
That's correct. The third
Please
clue
ask me where he went to school.
The third clue is cousin Josh Portis plays for the Toronto Argonauts.
That's racist that you think they're cousins. That's racist.
Oh, I should never trust the internet and all its racism. Clinton Portis scored how many points in that game? within 10.
250.
That is very incorrect. Standard scoring.
Within 10.
Mark, go
Nanu.
ahead.
Okay, so I know Vic scored 50 in the league that I was in, so I'm going to say 55.
Ooh, very close. It was 54 for a point.
Ooh.
Additional bonus point for Mark.
Wait, how does it become his now?
Because I am the boss.
Oh, this is
Where did
garbage.
Clinton Portis go to school?
I have no idea. I'm going to go right back. Miami.
That is correct for a point.
He guessed. Last year,
Here's
a
the
couple
lesson
years
for kids. It always ends up eventually being
You
Miami.
could probably guess Alabama or Miami and get.
we had this conversation with Brock the second year of the show, and he was like, "Guys, I'm terrible at this." And we said, "Guess USC, Miami, or the Ohio State, and you'll be fine."
All right. All right. This kicker scored 29 fantasy points in one game. Why is their team not in Memphis? Got cut this March. Poor Rob Baronis.
Mordecai,
Rob
Baronis.
That's correct.
Oh my God! I'm sitting there listening to the clue, and I'm like, poor Rob Baronis. Who's the Tennessee kicker?
All right. Within one.
I laughed at that so hard.
Within one, how many field goals did he kick that day?
8.
On the dot.
Nailed
for
it.
another
Yeah,
point.
that was it. If it's
Nailed
short, it's
it.
gotta
I
be
won't. I won't ask you what college he went to because you won't get it.
Rob Baronis,
eight.
Northern
University of
Illinois.
Miami.
Northern Illinois.
Nope.
University of Miami.
All right.
Chattanooga.
This quarterback holds the record for the highest single game fantasy points total for his position.
Nanu.
Mordecai.
Michael Vick.
That is correct.
God,
The other
Thank you, Brock.
I gave you the answer.
The
I
other
appreciate that, Brock.
currently a backup quarterback, but not bad for leading the league in felonies in the offseason.
That's not true at all.
The third clue was totally shit at dogfighting ownership group funding.
That's true.
Michael Vick scored how many points within 5 that season?
Mordecai.
Standard scoring
Oh,
league.
within that season.
I'm sorry,
season?
that game. That game.
Yeah, I'll go with 50.
49. Very good, Mordecai.
Didn't I say 49?
You said
He
40.
had
I'm just messing with you by
330
guessing 50.
333 yards passing with 4 TDs, 80 yards rushing with 2 touchdowns.
How would I have known I was going to give him 2 answers?
For an additional point, what college did Michael Vick go to?
Virginia Tech.
That is correct.
No. He can't go
went to
there.
Miami.
No. That Asian guy went there. That's not a good place to go.
Whoa, time out. Before we move on, what Asian guy are you referring to?
Aren't you
Speed
remember
round.
the
Here we
Virginia
go.
Tech thing where the guy shoots all the folks?
Oh,
He talks in that weird gravelly
there's been
voice.
enough death on this show tonight. Let's just
Yeah.
move on to speed round, please.
You're gonna pay for the sins of your pickles.
All right, speed round. This speed round is called black, white, or brown.
Oh
There's
God!
no way this could go terribly.
If you can't figure out what I'm looking for, you're not going to win. Number 1, Irish wide receiver Tim
No.
Mork.
White.
Incorrect. Mordecai.
Brown.
That's correct. UAB standout Roddy.
Oh.
Mordecai.
White. Like.
Mordecai.
Bah!
White.
White.
I said white.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Do not
San Diego
call me.
Padres manager Bud.
Mordecai.
Mordecai.
Nene.
That is correct. Hall of Famer Royals second baseman Frank.
Mordecai.
No.
Mordecai.
Brown.
Incorrect.
Okay.
Are you not even hearing me?
You're just doing it later than me.
Brock, you want to steal that one?
Yeah.
I couldn't hear what you were saying.
Hall of Fame Royals second baseman Frank.
And what did Aaron say?
Not the right answer.
That's what you
not-
get.
It's not my fault that my
There's
internet's
only
terrible.
3 answers. Just pick one.
It is your fault.
Frank White.
That is correct.
Good job.
Lead singer of the Pixies, Frank.
Nenu.
Mordecai.
Nanu.
Black.
That is correct. King of the Ginger Athletes and Bad Things guitarist, Sean.
Nenu.
Mordecai.
Nanu.
White.
No!
I beat you on the ginger.
Kicker Josh
Nanu.
Mordecai.
Nanu.
Brown.
That is correct. Steelers receiver Antonio
Mordecai.
Nano.
Mordecai.
Brown.
That is correct. Former Lakers guard Shannon
Mordecai.
Nanu.
Mordecai.
Black.
Incorrect.
White.
Incorrect. It was
Brown. It's Brown.
Pretty sure Michael Jackson gave this kid's AIDS. Ryan.
Nanu.
Nanu.
Black.
Incorrect.
Mordecai.
Mordecai.
White.
Ryan White. For the win, Mordecai. For the win.
He won nothing. He won nothing. I got
Congratulations.
What was that final score?
I don't know. 6-6.
I'm gonna disallow all the points Aaron got because I got the ginger question, and those are his people.
They are
Okay.
my people.
So
I mean, look at this. This is evidence.
that's
Glorious, glorious evidence.
We might do red, white, and blue next time. I don't know. So, Brock, I
don't
guess
know.
you're back on for trivia again next week. Or maybe
All
I
right.
think we should make Phil do it since he wasn't here and by default.
yeah.
He was a
I think
fucking
that's
loser.
fair, man. That is ridiculous. He cancels 2 hours before the show. All right, as it stands, we got one last segment to go through. We're going to talk about fantasy football. Obviously, a lot of people are doing their drafts this week. I have a draft on Saturday. I have a draft on Sunday. Peter is going to be part of my auction draft, and he's going to be auctioning via FaceTime. Isn't technology amazing?
Just
I'll be
like
like,
this.
He's looking for five. Marshall looking for five. Looking for six. Looking for six. 6 on the iPad. 6 on the iPad. I got 6 on the iPad. 6 on the iPad. Looking for 7.
I'll
All
have
right.
a paddle and everything.
We live in the future. It's a glorious time.
All right, so here's my. We did last week. We talked about quarterbacks and tight ends. This week we're going to cover running backs and wide receivers for 3 up and 3 down. If you do have any questions, huh?
Are we going to cover kickers from 10 years ago, like we did in trivia?
I don't even cover kickers anymore. In all of the leagues that I try to play in, I don't even play with kickers
Pick 'em
anymore.
last every time.
Pick them last every time. So if you do have any questions, you can always email us. We'll give you our email at the end of the show.
I'm going to say that it's flashing on your screen right now.
Ooh.
It's probably not accurate, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Those are just really his hands. So if you type like hand gingerbeard at hand.com, it's not going to get you anywhere.
The internet is magic. It'll find its way to me.
Yeah. You know, it's like a lost puppy. Or it's like Tony Stewart trying to find a guy outside of his car.
Really fast and accidental?
Okay, so here's my... Exactly. Here's my 3 up, 3 down for running backs. Okay. And I'm going by all of ESPN standard rankings, and I'd love to hear if you guys feel like I'm way off base. Feel free to interject.
Okay.
The first one that I have is Marshawn Lynch being in my 3 down category. He's right now rated number 5 overall by ESPN rankings.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a couple of stats to back this up. First of all, I'm not a Lynch believer. With a quarterback that runs in an offense that averages less than 200 passing yards a game, I get that he's been consistent, and I get that he's a beast. He's beast mode, you know.
Beast mode.
But let me give you. Here's the thing. Here's a couple things that are going to let me think that maybe the Skittles are going to run out in Seattle this year. So, years after a Super Bowl victory, running back stats. Okay.
That was beautiful, Peter. You did a great job.
I see the lines and I feel within them.
Okay. Here's some stats of the running backs the year after that team won the Super Bowl. 2009, the Pittsburgh Steelers won the Super Bowl in 2008. In 2009, Rashard Mendenhall had the best stats of any prior year Super Bowl running back. He had 1,108 yards and 7 TDs, and that's as best as it's gotten over the last 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Following year, New Orleans Saints 2010, Chris Ivory has 716 yards and 5 TDs as their lead back. Green Bay Packers in 2011, Ryan Grant has 559 yards and 2 TDs in 15 games. New York Giants in 2012, Ahmad Bradshaw has 6 TDs and 600 yards. Ray Rice in 2013 has 660 yards and 4 TDs. There's obviously something that's showing over the last 5 years that the year after they go to the Super Bowl, the running backs that had really good years started to see some sort of a regression. Additionally, last year Marshawn Lynch had 12 rushing TDs. I want to hear what you guys have to say to this. How many of his 12 TDs came that were over 5 yards last year?
Of the 12?
Mm-hmm.
I'd say 8.
Peter?
3.
2.
Oh, so close.
10 of his 12 TDs came at 4 yards or less, which me understanding that they have a fantastic defense means that they were probably set up with some really good, nice goal line situations, which part of defensive interceptions and fumbles is some of it's dumb luck and being in the right place at the right time, not taking anything away from the Seattle defense. They're a fantastic defense. They're the best defense in the league.
But you are taking away from them by saying it's not going to happen as much?
No, I'm taking something away from Marshawn Lynch, is what I'm saying. They won't necessarily always be within the 10-yard line for him to punch it in.
There's nothing wrong with a goal line back depending on your league, but to your point, I would consider a couple things that are going on with Marshawn Lynch right now. Apparently, he's being accused for
assault.
Is it assault?
It's assault, brother.
We're waiting to see if those charges are going to stick. And to go with the Super Bowl, what happens to Super Bowl running backs the year after they win? Some things to consider is a lot of people like to retire after they win the Super Bowl. Teams have to dismantle teams because of salary cap issues. So when you look at the Seattle Seahawks, there's a couple things you want to consider. They didn't really lose a whole lot of players when they went through their off-season program. So, Marshawn Lynch, I still have him as a top 10 guy. I'm just waiting to see what happens with these charges before I make my decision.
And I agree with you that I have him as a top 10 guy, but I don't have him number 5 overall. I've got him closer to the 8 to 9 range. The whole goal of the up and down thing is to say, here's where they're being drafted right now. Here's where I actually have them. So there are a couple guys I like more than Marshawn Lynch in this specific aspect.
If you're going 3 up and 3 down, you still would say, okay, say 5 is his ceiling, then maybe his floor is 8.
So I would agree with you. I think his floor is probably about 8. I think 8 is where I would take him.
I'd probably put him 4 or 5 just because I don't think that I don't think that the running quarterback is going to be a situation for them just because he runs last. He's good at it, but he runs as a last resort for the most part. And those goal line runs, I don't think that there's any reason he's going to convert less of those, and I don't think there's any reason that he's going to get less of those because the defense is still ranked number 1, and I don't see any reason why those would go down. It's early enough in his career that the retirement bug isn't going to bite or anything like that. So I would say 4 or 5.
Well, you can't say that with him. He's already talked about retiring before.
That's because he wasn't getting paid.
I was going to say, he wasn't getting paid, he wasn't playing here, that kind of stuff.
But
so now, let's talk about the offseason. The guy has held out. He's been accused of assault. There is a Skittle shortage in Seattle right now.
Don't lie. There's no Skittle shortage ever anywhere.
Starbucks put them in a drink, and now no one has Skittles in Seattle.
So here's the thing that probably puts the most weight on it for me is all the teams in the NFC West are really by far and away the best defensive league.
Oh, hands down.
In the
Not
NFL.
even close.
Okay, who's the worst team? So maybe it's the Rams. The Rams probably have.
And they still have a solid defense.
Okay, the Cardinals. The Cardinals still have a really good defense too. They have one of the best quarterbacks in the league. So it could be a tough road for all running backs in the NFC West.
But you can say that. But Marshawn Lynch, to play my own devil's advocate at this point, Marshawn Lynch has eaten the 49ers defense alive every time that he's faced them. In the
Seahawks as a whole have eaten the 49ers alive.
Well, true. I just thought that the whole idea of him having 10 of his 12 rushing touchdowns being with under 4 yards, meaning to me that with the way Russell Wilson runs, he's not going to get that many TDs again this year. There's got to have been 3 to 5 times where he was put inside the 10-yard line where he just punched it in from the 2. He had at least 5 one-yard TDs last year, and sometimes that's going to be a quarterback sneak. And that does move his value from being number 5 down to number 8 for me. If he goes from 12 touchdowns to 8, that drastically loses value as a running back. Wouldn't you agree?
I think it puts you in the second tier when you get below 10.
Exactly. I'm the same exact way. I think he still gets past 1,000 yards, but his his touchdowns hits under the 10 mark at that point.
Okay, so let's do this. Dave, you're listening to this and you're taking notes, right? I'm sure that you are. That I'm saying that he's going to be 4 or 5 in terms of running backs by the end of the year. You're saying that he'll be below, and we'll see, and then you'll buy me steaks.
Okay, so I will do some sort of fun challenge with you. I still think that DeMarco Murray for the Cowboys is actually going to have a better season than he will.
Okay, that's the bet right there. I'll take that.
Yeah, I mean, that's on improved Cowboys offensive line. They're going to be playing from behind. I think that he's going to have a better season. Plain simple. Now, let's also do a fair bet that obviously if there's a season-ending injury to either one, the bet's off.
Sure.
Is that fair?
Season-ending, yes.
Yeah, I mean, 2 or 3 games, it is what it is, but season-ending, that's just not fair.
So a minimum of 12 games or 13 games?
Yeah, sure. Let's say 12. That's 3/4 of the season.
Sounds fine.
And we'll go by straight-up fantasy points.
And in the interest of time, Brock, I do not disagree with you on the next two. It's just a point.
Okay, next two that we have coming up, I'm actually going to go in order. Arian Foster is actually rated the number 7th overall running back right now. And while I like Arian Foster, I think that he's actually a solid running back. Houston's terrible, just terrible. I believe that they're the new Oakland Raiders, except I can actually name a couple people on their team.
Except that the Oakland Raiders are still the Oakland Raiders.
Yeah, but Arian Foster, what worries me about him is that when they started to talk to him about the injury that he had last season, he just started talking about retirement. And to me, like, honestly, as a running back, you just have to run angry. And if he's just talking about what he's going to do when he's 42 years old rather than what he's doing right now, I have absolutely no interest in you being on my team. A running back needs to be a run through the line, knock everybody's teeth out with your helmet type of guy, or make everybody miss you. And if he's going to lose the swagger of what he was before, which he used to be the run over everybody sort of Jim Brown type of running back, he won't be on my team this year. Aaron, you have a finger up.
I have one finger for one reason why you were absolutely correct. He's vegan. No vegan will be my top 10 running back. Not happening.
Yeah. Peter?
Here's what I foresee happening. Ryan Fitzpatrick is the quarterback, if I'm not correct.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that happens when teams aren't doing well is hamstrings start to hurt a lot. When shit is not going well, sometimes things tend to nag a little bit more. If they were winning a bunch of games and they had a chance to win their division, you might play through that. When you're sitting on a mediocre contract and this quarterback blows donkeys and your team's getting the shit kicked out of them, you may not fucking feel like running today. So
not to mention that it's Houston and it'll be 110 degrees and humidity will be at 157%.
Indoor stadium.
This just in, Peter Alden is saying that Ryan Fitzpatrick literally blows donkeys.
Where's my sound effects for that?
I cannot confirm that.
I was talking about a news sound effect, Brock.
Oh, sorry. Well, that was my sound effect.
It works a lot better with the video.
We have very different soundboards, you and I.
Okay. So
stop.
We've almost made it halfway through one of the positions you want to talk about.
Ben Tate, last one for running back. He has now gone over to the Cleveland Browns, and considering that he is one of the 2 running backs that were from Houston last year, and Arian Foster was out for almost the entire year last year, and he still couldn't get the job done, I'm not believing it. I don't care if it's Hoyer or Manziel, quarterback. Mm-hmm. I just have no faith in the guy. He's rated number 16 right now on ESPN, so the number 2 running backs are tricky, and I have absolutely no interest in this guy being on my fantasy team. Do you guys have any objections to that?
I have so many question marks about the Cleveland Browns to begin with. Yep. Obviously, I think Johnny Manziel is going to be the starter game 1 just because he's got to be better than Brian Hoyer. The question is how good is Ben Tate? I mean, he's okay when he's in a backup role behind Arian Foster. He seems to run pretty well. How well can he stay off the injured reserve list because he's had issues with injuries in the past? And, I mean, you never know what's going to happen with offenses in Cleveland. Mm-hmm. Just because they're right there by the lake, they've never put up points ever. So, buyer beware.
If their offense is unsure as to who's going to be available for the season anyway, they might be zoning in on run. All the defenses against them might be looking at the run anyway. So, I agree with you. Too many question marks. There's no way to know.
All right, let's go to 3 up real quick, and we'll try to burn through these pretty quickly, guys. 3 up. Jamal Charles on ESPN is actually rated number 3. Yep. Rather than number 1, and I personally think that ESPN has lost their fucking minds.
Agreed.
The guy is amazing. Obviously, yeah, he's got afterburners built into his shoes. The guy can catch. He's working on a good defense. I know this is hurting your feelings, Peter, but I have him as my number 1 rated overall running back without a doubt.
Well, I never mix business with pleasure, and I think LeSean McCoy is probably the number 1 running back overall. If you're going to take AP over Jamal Charles, I'm okay with that probably too. I could at least make an argument. The only things I would say is it really comes down to Teddy Bridgewater versus the inexperienced Kansas City Chiefs offensive line. That's the debate that you have to have.
For me, I'm actually, I hate to say this, but I do agree with Brock. I've got a number 1 pick in one of my leagues. I'm probably going to take Jamal Charles. LeSean McCoy, his knees will explode this year. I've said it on the show before. I'm reaffirming that. 1 or more of his knees will explode this season. He's not going to be worth the top 3 pick from me. AP, I can understand the toss-up there, but Minnesota's just going to be awful. So they've got nothing really else to throw at them except for Adrian Peterson. And I don't know how much he can do what he's been doing. So, yeah. I agree with Brock. I hate to say it.
Brock, is that what you're seeing? That's who the second player is over Jamal Charles?
I actually have it in this order. I have it as Jamal Charles, LeSean McCoy, Matt Forte, then AP.
Forte. That's what I'm seeing, too.
That's the way I have it.
If you move LeSean McCoy to the 4th position, that's what I've got.
That may also come down to whether or not you're in PPR or standard scoring league.
Well, and I play in all PPR leagues anymore because I'm in America, and I walk on the rat.
Because this is America.
Yeah,
I like points with my points.
I don't play kickers. I don't do individual defensive positions.
I just option a league where there's 2 quarterbacks.
I start.
We're not doing that this year, by the way.
Oh, fuck that. I want to do that.
All the quarterbacks.
There's 10 people this year. There's no reason. All right, let's move on. Okay, second running back that I have on this list for 3 up is C.J. Spiller. Now, here's my personal opinion. If you have short-term fantasy disease to where the only thing that you can remember is last year when this guy was dealing with a hurt ankle literally the entire season, sorry, but I'm going to take C.J. Spiller, and I'm going to take him as my number 2 running back, and I may profit from it highly.
Question.
Yeah.
You have him at number 16 here, but you also have Ben Tate at number 16. I'm confused.
I do. Let me look at it. Right. Ben Tate's number 17 on ESPN. Sorry.
Okay.
I typed it in.
So I want to get in a time machine with you, Brock, if you're interested, and jump back a year when you and I had a debate as to who would score more fantasy points, C.J. Spiller or Jamal Charles last year. You were really high on C.J. Spiller.
Yep.
And you have to be really high to like any Bills running back. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with them. E.J. Manuel looks terrible. The Bills' offensive coordinator is a guy that went to high school with me, and he wasn't that great at football, so I don't really know how that translated into being an offensive coordinator. His dad was an offensive coordinator for the Chiefs in the 90s. I have a really bad feeling what's going to happen to the Bills. They're going to move to Toronto. They're going to lose their quarterback. Their offensive coordinator and their coaches are going to be gone.
There's obviously a tie. I will obviously break the tie.
Break it.
And I'm going to use the best reason possible. C.J. Spiller plus Bon Jovi, now affiliated with the Buffalo Bills.
Living on a prayer. Go living on a prayer.
Equals living on a prayer. Yes. Yes. So he's moving up. Bon Jovi gives him at least three extra steps up. So yeah, he's going to have a good year because of the Bon Jovi.
You should have went with Wanted, Dead or Alive.
That's Fred Jackson.
Hey,
right, so,
you don't tell me how to make Bon Jovi references. You want to know why? Because it's my life. It's my life. Now or never.
Well, that's pretty slippery when wet.
Did you hear the amount of silence after that one?
I don't know. I blacked out.
We got to get moving. We got to get to this episode. All right. Last running back that's on the way up. Rashad Jennings for the New York Giants is rated number 24 overall. Obviously, with David Wilson literally losing his football career. And I actually liked Rashad Jennings when he was in Oakland.
What is it with you in Oakland?
He loves the...
But he was good in Oakland. He was solid in Oakland. He was actually better than Darren McFadden.
Are you sure he wasn't just good by comparison to terrible?
Maybe.
He was a good goal line back.
But when it comes to him getting everyday carries, which obviously he's going to do now, had David Wilson not have gone down, I wouldn't have made this pick. But him going number 24 overall, he's going to get all the carries there. There's no Andre Brown there anymore. And the Giants are solid. And guess what they get to do? They get to face the Cowboys line twice a fucking year. And they're goddamn awful.
Solid point.
So how are you using that against your DeMarco Murray pick?
Well, the defense is terrible. The offense is good.
That should highlight your LaShawn McCoy #1 overall.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it kind of makes sense, you know. So any questions as far as the Rashad Jennings pick? I mean, he's rated 24. He should be, a high running back too.
I can see the value in it, but the thing is, there's a lot of question marks still. We've still got a couple preseason games left to go to see how some of these running back rankings shake out. There's a lot of teams that still haven't decided who their #1 and #2 guys are. So keep an eye on it and just kind of monitor the value. If he ends up being the Giants' starting running back, take a look at the offense as a whole. 23, I mean, that's not a bad pick.
No. But I mean,
it's not a bad pick at all. If he does get named the starting running back, then he's really their only short yardage answer.
Right.
Their receivers are not good in the slot. They're not good at short distance. So I mean, if and when he is made the starter, I think it's definitely a value pick in the early 20s. Yeah.
He's definitely going to be a vulture, and that's he's the number 24th running back, not overall. 24th running back, which means the 24th running back is probably going to go around
70.
Yeah, like 70 or 7th round to 9th round, and man, if he produces like a 5th round pick, like that's value, and that's all I'm ever looking for when I'm looking in fantasy. All right, let's move down to wideouts. Okay, now this I guarantee I'm going to get a little bit of crap for, but it is what it is. The 3 down I had the harder time with this year because wide receivers are kind of hard to say. Okay, well this is a guy who's rated really high, and I just think that he's rated too high. So my first one is probably what you guys are going to give me the most crap over, which is Demaryius Thomas is rated number 2 overall. This is just maybe me personally, but I would take A.J. Green and I would take Dez Bryant and maybe even Brandon Marshall before I take Demaryius Thomas. Here's my reasons. I don't see Peyton Manning repeating the season that he repeated last year. Eric Decker was a draw away from Demaryius Thomas, and I don't see Emmanuel Sanders being that same person.
Quick, before you go too far into that, give me a why you don't see Peyton Manning repeating his performance from last year.
He lost Eric Decker, who's a better receiver, for Emmanuel Sanders. Knowshon Moreno is now out. Monte Ball is now in. Monte Ball, who had the job last year and lost it to Knowshon Moreno. So you're downgrading in running back, even though they say that Monte Ball is fantastic and he's got all the skills. Well, guess what? Monte Ball couldn't win the job when it was his to win, and Knowshon Moreno, the 3rd backup running back, was the one that produced 1,400 plus yards. So I think you downgraded in running back. I think you downgraded in tight end, or not tight end, your 3rd wide receiver, and 55 touchdowns in a year. I mean, how many times does it happen? 3 ever?
Mm-hmm.
Peyton's a year older. Everyone's got an extra year age on it. I'm not saying that Peyton doesn't have a great year, but I'm going to I'm going to predict him for around the 45 touchdown mark. Saying that Demaryius' touchdown goes down a little bit.
But everything you've said so far basically means that it puts focus more on Demaryius Thomas for touches. So you've got a running back situation that may not take away as much. You've got a receiver that may not take away as much. So even if Peyton's production is down a little bit, more of those balls, more of those touchdowns, more of those catches are going to go to Thomas.
So let me ask you this, though, Aaron. If your running back is unproductive and your 3rd receiver is unproductive, how much more double coverage does Demaryius Thomas see?
I think that there's a difference between unproductive and less productive. I think that they're still going to be productive enough to keep the double coverage at bay.
If I could put a middle linebacker on Monte Ball to cover him whenever he's going outside to go try to catch some sort of swing pass, and if I can put my 4th cornerback on Emmanuel Sanders, that allows me to pull my safety down to double cover Demaryius Thomas. The reason why Demaryius Thomas has been fantastic is not only he's a freak, and I'm not downgrading him much. I'm taking him down from number 2 to number 5. The thing that bothers me is that when you start to get into red zone threats, people know that the ball is almost always going to go to Julius Thomas. 10 of his 12 TDs went straight to Julius Thomas last year in the red zone. So if they're not going to go to Julius Thomas, they're going to go to Demaryius Thomas. So they're either going to go one of these two ways. You're going to go this way, you're going to go this way. At that point, I would think the defenses are already gunning for him.
I'm pointing at Peter.
So here's some points that I'd like to throw at you. If, like, Aaron was saying, where's the throws going to go to? If they're not going to that Thomas, they're going to the other Thomas. So if you're low on one, you better be high on the other.
Yep.
A couple of things to consider. The AFC West, the cornerback situation there has gotten really bad. The Chiefs are down, the Raiders are down, the Chargers are up-ish, but they're still bad. They got a lot of players in the secondary, and it's Peyton fucking Manning. He's probably going to put a couple guys in the Hall of Fame. So the throws have to go somewhere, and I would still probably keep Demaryius Thomas at least in the top 4. The only thing you got to be worried about is his injuries.
The only thing I'm worried about for him is that I do not see him overproducing A.J. Green, Dez Bryant, obviously Megatron. I had him literally, in the show notes I even put in here, that I had him literally tied with Brandon Marshall right now for 4. Only because I think Brandon Marshall is going to split enough time with Alshon Jeffrey to where the catches are going to be separated.
I don't have near the confidence in Dez Bryant that you do.
That comes down to Tony Romo.
I have the confidence
exactly.
that the Cowboys' defense is going to be so bad that they're going to have to play from behind so much that they're going to be gunslinging, and that's what Dez Bryant does really well.
Are they so bad that the Cowboys are going to get a different quarterback?
No, I just think the defense is so awful that they're going to be behind in games all the time, so they're going to be throwing like a lot.
Yeah, Tony Romo's still throwing it.
If Tony Romo's still throwing it.
Here's the problem. Like, I don't understand why people downgrade Tony Romo. The guy has put up consistent stats every single year.
I'm downgrading Tony Romo this year.
We covered this last week where he had back surgery and he made
That's rightfully so. Until he gets out there and play, we'll find out on Saturday, which is when he actually starts a preseason game. Until then, yes, I mean everything's up in the air.
Sure.
All right, here's my next one on wideouts. Andre Johnson. He's ranked number 11 overall on ESPN, and here's my simple and very simple conclusion. You play in Houston, you can go play for somebody else's team, not my team.
Same as my Arian Foster argument. When shit goes bad, god damn my hammy hurts.
Oh! Yeah,
groin, I'm out.
I want nothing to do with him, and there's no other explanation other than that. Moving right along. Larry Fitzgerald. He is number 13 overall on ESPN. He still has no real quarterback. Carson Palmer's a hit away from amnesia, and he's already lost some skills like how to throw.
It's just that one, though, right?
Yeah, just whoop. I don't know how to do that. I got hit. You see, like last week, Tony Stewart was by my house, and I got hit, and I forgot how to throw.
He's still Larry Fitzgerald. He'll get his catches, and Michael Floyd's starting to come around, so they may be all right.
I just don't see him at
13. I'll take him.
Yeah, I think he's ranked at 13 on name alone. I don't think he's going to perform up to that.
You can have him, and you can have him. I don't care. I just don't care.
My paddle.
No, I don't want it.
Up.
Oh, good for you, Aaron. You're good. You took away the ginger in the red Cardinal uniform. Extra down for people going down. Percy Harvin can't. I just can't draft you either. Plus, your team also throws for 150 yards a game, and you're a receiver. I don't know how that's going to help you out.
/ running back.
Well, you also have Marshawn Lynch, who I don't think is going to do well either.
/ migraine haver, so he's only there half the time.
That just gets him out of practice. He always shows up for games. Brock is
No. Believe me, as having had him on my team before, it does not get him out of games sometimes.
He didn't get the note from the nurse, I guess. All right, so 3 up. Last 3, and then we're going to finish up the show. Roddy White. He's number 18 overall.
He was in trivia.
Yeah, was he?
I got it right. You didn't know Roddy White's last name.
No, it wasn't that. It's that my whole screen glitched out, so I had no idea what you were saying at the time. Okay, so number 18.
What had happened was...
What had happened was... I've got him number 18 overall with ESPN ranking, with Julio Jones coming back, and with the emergence of Harry Douglas from last year. I think that Roddy White's going to see a lot more single coverage, which was what his problem was last year. Harry Douglas also for me is like a late round sleeper. He's going to be playing in the slot. Don't look for his production to be what it was last year, but he's going to be solid. I think the Atlanta Falcons offense is really going to be something pretty decent, especially if Steven Jackson can stay healthy this year. Matt Ryan is one of my biggest sleeper quarterbacks this year too.
No Tony Gonzalez. They're going to be down this year. And if you've watched Hard Knocks, look at how much effort Roddy White puts into practice and getting ready for the season. He just sits there and runs his fucking mouth and doesn't do anything.
Well, here's what I'm going to tell you. Roddy White is going to end up running the slot route that Tony Gonzalez used to run to be able to catch more balls that are going to be out in the middle.
So you're saying Roddy White over Julio Jones?
No. Hell no. That's crazy.
Sounds like you're pretty high on Roddy White then.
I am high on Roddy White being at number 18. I think that Roddy White's going to finish as the number 12, maybe number 13 receiver. I'm not taking him over Julio Jones because I'm a sane human being sometimes.
I'm not going to agree with over 18 for Roddy White.
I definitely will. Well, I'll beat your ass on that one. Okay, moving on.
I'll beat your ass.
I'll beat your ass and I'll run you over with my car.
Because I've got a cousin that deals in pie.
Torrey Smith. He's probably one of my favorite players here on this list. He's number 22 on the ESPN list. Add in Steve Smith, who they acquired from the Carolina Panthers, who let him go. So he should see more single coverage. The problem with Torrey Smith last year it wasn't that he was a bad receiver. He was actually a really good receiver. The guy was averaging 17.4 yards per catch, which was just below Josh Gordon of the Browns. The problem is that he only had 4 touchdowns last year because every time they got in the red zone, he was getting double and triple covered. But if you add in Steve Smith, some of that defensive coverage goes away when you start getting in the red zone. I'm seeing this guy easily getting close to the 1,000-yard mark in receptions and doubling his touchdowns to at least 8.
Outside of the fact that it makes me a little nervous when you use the phrase just like, oh gosh, now it's leaving me. Never mind. I agree. Never mind.
Solid point.
Yeah,
I'll give you a name to consider when you talk about red zone looks. You ready for this one? Mm-hmm. Dennis Pitta.
Oh no, I'm with you on that.
Dennis Pitta was not around last year, so that's why he got a lot of the double and triple coverage. Here's how Torrey Smith works. He's probably going to get games where he gets 5 catches for 222 yards and 2 touchdowns.
True.
There's going to be other games where he gets 1 catch for 8 yards.
Absolutely. I'm 100% with you. I'm just 100% with you, but like in the end, if you can have him on your team when he's ranked 22nd to be your
that's going to be in a low flex position or something like that.
And that's going to be a great thing. That's going to win you weeks, and that's what it's all about, man. All right,
I actually agree with Brock again. That's weird.
I am wrapping it up. Jeremy Maclin, number 26. He's going to be Nick Foles' new Deshaun Jackson. Jeremy Maclin runs fast when he doesn't have headaches, and Nick Foles throws the ball deep more than any other quarterback in the NFL. Plain and simple. 26, I have him ranked 18, 17, somewhere in there.
I don't know that I would go that high, but I would definitely go higher than 26, yes.
He's the number 1. He's the number 1 out there.
Right.
Well, they drafted a couple young wide receivers, too, so I'm pretty meh on him. Mostly because he's a Missouri Tiger, but also he's coming off of injury, so I don't really like him.
You've got to take into account who's designing that offense as well. I mean, if they're going to throw the ball fast and hard and a billion times, so he's going to get enough touches.
He's going to get a lot of touches. I mean, you can't tell me, Peter, that 26 is not an underration for what Jeremy Maclin could do. Even if it's say it's 800 yards and 8 TDs.
Did you just use the term? Did you just use the term underration?
Yes.
Underration.
We're making up words on this show. Google it.
Fair enough.
Okay, so that's all I have. Do you guys have anything else for the show?
You're looking at it, buddy.
Your silence is fantastic.
This is all you need.
All right, here's another episode of Your Team Sucks. Feel free to email us at ytspodcast@gmail.com. That's Your Team Sucks spelled out with just one letter. For Peter, Aaron, myself, Brock, and Dave the Douche, and Phil, who's still trying to wear his fat pants.
Eat a dick,
Phil.
Phil.
Thanks for watching again this week. We will see you guys next week, hopefully Wednesday at 9 p.m., as long as everything's golden. And we appreciate you watching, and don't trust anything we say. Later, y'all. This book says DeAndre Hopkins is good. DeAndre Hopkins is good. Trust my fantasy advice.